Hello, hello. This time I'm gonna speak English because a lot of people asked me. Um, can you hear me, guys? I mean, you can still write Hebrew. If you've got any questions, probably gonna maybe speak a little bit Hebrew, but please let me know if you can hear me, if you can see my screen. Hey, Evgeny. Hey, Roy. I need to know if you can hear me. Yeah, loud and clear. Sure, just boost up the volume a little bit. Give me a second. Let's see. 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 2. Is that better, Roy? Can you hear me better? Hello, 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 hello. I'm gonna start the content in a minute. And this time I'm gonna try to speak English. We're gonna try to keep it English because apparently Hebrew is not that popular. So a lot of people who've seen my previous sessions ask me, can you please try to speak English? Yeah, I'll do my best. I'll do my best. It's not my usual microphone today. So I've got Evgeny and Roy here. Just you're gonna be in charge. You know what? I've got an idea. I think I know how to make the sound a little bit better. You might hear the air condition humming, but let's give it a try. 1 1. Is that better? Roy, Evgeny, Zach, I can see you over the chat. Can you hear me better, or do you hear this humming all around me? Just ping me, and I think we're gonna start. Why not? Hello. No, okay. All right, so let's get started. Sounds like a plan. Yeah. Well, it's either I can if I shut it down, I'm probably gonna burn because it's too hot inside of my home office. But if it's not a big deal, yeah, hear the AC, but it's fine. All right. Anyway, you know the drill. If during the session you hear something wrong with the sound, something wrong with the video, ping me, let me know, try to fix it. Worst case scenario, you know. So, if first of all, thank you very much for everyone who's joining me online. If that's your first time you seeing this type of my sessions, you should know there is this is not like an official meetup or something. It's just something that I do sometimes to share some of my adventures in Angular. So like 2 days ago we had a discussion over one of our local Israeli Angular WhatsApp group about things that we can do with Angular Bootstrap process and stuff. So I decided, hey, why not? I play with Angular a lot during the nights, usually explore, try to break things. So let's share this knowledge with you. And of course, because this is Angular on the rocks, this broadcast started on the first wave of COVID-19, and as usual, Bushmills, that's the official drink for this session. And during this session, I'm probably gonna drink and try to live code, so it's gonna be fun. Let's start with the first shot for today. So cheers everyone, hope you stay safe and healthy. Let's get started. Don't drink and code. Don't drink and drive. Don't drive and code. Don't code and drive. Alright guys, so the topic for today is Angular main.ts file. My name is Nir. Because now, I'm gonna try to speak English like I said, and try to reach more people that ask me to convert this session to something more international. So I'm gonna lightly introduce myself, but basically if you want to find more details about me or how to contact me or just where to find the code, the slides, whatever, ask questions, email, whatever you like, check out this very simple website, near.live. It's gonna get a huge update soon, but basically you can find everything you need, about me, how to get in touch and how to get all these kind of materials. The main goal of this session is obviously to drink and share some knowledge. Feel free to ask questions during the session. Feel free to hit the chat. I will try to answer everything. Like I said before, it's not an official meetup. It's not like an official, lecture or talk. It's some kind of spontaneous. Is that the word in English? But you got the idea. The main goal of this session is to inspire you to explore Angular, to try play around, because sometimes we stick with a bunch of best practices or what we think is best practices, and if you ask 20 different Angular developers what are the best practices out there, you're probably gonna hear at least 10 versions of, you're gonna get like a bunch of do this and do that, and you never can do this and you can never do that. And what I'm trying to say is that eventually it's just JavaScript, and sometimes it's 100% okay to do some simple apply some simple straightforward techniques, which doesn't need to be that complicated. So that's my main goal for this session. Alright, the title is The Power of main.ts, because we're gonna play a lot with the file that, correct me if I'm wrong, you can write it down on the chat, I'm gonna see it. I think that main.ts, most of the time, you don't touch this file at all. Anyone here, we've got a lot of people actually watching this video in this time. How many of you wrote some code in main.ts? More than just if environment whatever enable production mode. I don't know. Most of the Angular developers that I know stay away from the main.ts because there's no need to do it. No. So let's start. Oh yeah. I put on each slide the title gonna say shot number 1, because it's a reminder that I need to drink before I get into the topic. So second shot for today, and let's dive into the first topic, which is no one told me I can do it. Now I've got some free stuff for you thanks to JetBrains. So I've got some free licenses and stuff. So I'm gonna ask some questions, and I don't know, maybe we're gonna have a little ruffle or something. And very important, before I drink, every session is 100% live coding, no edits. So let's generate a brand new fresh Angular project from scratch. I'm gonna use npx engine. Let's call it the boot app, and I'm gonna use the minimal flag to create a minimal Angular application, basically no testing, inline styles and stuff. Let's get it up and running. We don't need routing for this session, CSS it's fine. Now we can go back to the slides and cheers. Great. So, now I need to get it done. Alright, so no one told me it can be done. My first question is for you. Every Angular application have one and only one root component. Who's agree with me? There is a delay between your answers, but I'm gonna take the time and finish this tiny shot while I'm checking on the npm install, which I think it's done. Matan say no, there is more than one root component. Who else agree? App component. Yeah, I mean, when you first learn Angular, we usually talk about a tree of components, and we've got a tree. So we've got the root of the tree, which is by convention we call it the app component. I mean, we've got the same kind of idea in any other framework. Roy said no, you can use much more than a micro front end. All right, cool. But I'm not going to talk about micro front end. I'm just going to talk about this concept. But let's get our project up and running. So I'm gonna open Visual Studio Code, and then I'm gonna close it and open up a professional IDE. And then let's just open the project, the boot app that I just created inside of WebStorm. Zoom in and everything. Yeah. Let me know if that's big enough. Yeah, the routine is open VS Code, close VS Code, open. If you've seen one of my lectures, that's my dead joke. So we've got this Angular app. I'm gonna clean it up a little bit. So all this boilerplate template, let's get rid of it. Welcome to title, we can leave it here. Let's leave the image, let's get rid of this. Let's go to stars, get rid of this. Let's go to the Angular JSON. Every time I'm gonna generate a component today, I don't want to create a folder for it. So I'm gonna say flat true. What else? You see skip test and everything because it's a minimal Angular project. If you can hear like the humming getting stronger, that's my other MacBook Pro getting hot, really hot. What else? TS config. Here I want to say strict. Where is it? Init. Yeah, this one. In TS config, I'm gonna say strict property initialization false, because otherwise I'm just gonna get some errors if I've got a class member which is not which wanna assign a value on ng on init and not inside the constructor. So this rule gonna jump right in. Prefix, Evgeny, yeah, you're right, but let's keep it up for now. What else before we do our famous ng-serve? I want to keep it a little bit pretty, not too much. So I'm gonna do an npm install Bootstrap the CSS library. Yeah, I know that we're gonna talk a lot about Angular Bootstrap today, but Bootstrap the CSS library. So I'm gonna go to the main styles file, and I'm gonna import Bootstrap. Dist CSS, Bootstrap CSS, and I think we are ready to do an ng-serve. If I miss something, let me know, but I think we are ready to go. Let's go back to our app component. First compilation gonna take some time, but not too much. Compiled successfully. Localhost 4200. This is our Angular app, and if we go like to inspect the elements, we won't be surprised to find, well, one element which called app root, which contains our dynamically generated Angular app. So like I said, if you hit our main.ts, we can see that here that's our entry point. We're going to bootstrap the app module, which is fine. The app modules contain a bootstrap component, which is app component, and the index.html file contain one single element inside the body, which is the custom element that we created with our app component. All right. Any questions? You got any questions? Feel free to hit it. And if I go back to the slides, we are talking about every Angular application got one and only one root component. So you know what? Let's try to find a use case for another root component. So I'm gonna create a component right now. Let's create an Angular component. Let's call this component alert. So I'm using the Angular schematics integration with WebStorm, but basically that's just, if you're not familiar with it, it's built in with WebStorm, probably a plugin for VS Code, built on top of Angular CLI. So I've got my alert component, and let's create a nice alert something. I think the class is alert and alert danger, and alert works. Let's keep it this way. Let's clean up the, I can't see unused code. I know it's just, all right. So I've got an alert component, and because I used Angular CLI, if I go to my app module, I'm going to see my alert component as part of my declarations. Now I'm going to remove it from here. Let's clean it up a little bit. And I'm going to add my alert component to my Bootstrap component, which basically means that now I can go to my index.html file and create another root component, app alert. Let's see if, yeah, you see it right here, alert works. So, you know what, let's go for a second. Let me apply class to the body container just to keep it centered. And here you go. Now, why would I like to do such a thing? Well, I think it's kind of like, I don't know, obvious, because sometimes you do want an element, like this is a great example, because in a lot of applications we usually implement some kind of a toaster or central alert, something that jump like notification online, offline, whatever. And Roy asked, this is how you preloaders. Yes, you can, but that's not what I'm trying to show you. I'm trying to show you that it's like basically what you're seeing right now. I mean, if we explore it a little bit, look, the alert component, the app alert, is not a child of app component, which is very interesting because we are kind of getting used to that. We've got this hierarchy of components. So we started with one component, app component, it's everything go beneath it, which is fine. But this is one of the most interesting use cases when I say I don't need my app alert component to be part of this tree. I want it to be aligned to the body. You know what? Maybe in some other use cases, this component I've got like other reasons to make it completely separate. But to be honest, it's not like that the app alert is completely decoupled from the app module. That's not the case. I mean, the app alert doesn't know anything about the app root. It's not part of the same hierarchy. I mean, we've got two root components. We started up two different trees. The same context, the same Angular app, the same module, but I just started up more than one tree. I mean, the purpose of app module Bootstrap component basically means these components are going to be bootstrapped. It's going to be part of the index HTML. I hope it was clear enough. Let me see if there are any questions, and we're gonna take it step forward. Alright, so this is cool, Itai. Yes, this is cool. That's the idea. I'm glad you're happy that you like it. What else? Roy, preloaders, we talk about it. Can you give a real use case example for this? Shai asked. I think the most common use case for creating another Bootstrap component, it's exactly what I did. I'm going to show you some more use cases soon, but in a lot of the system that I used to implement, we always had this kind of, let's call it a toaster or some kind of notification center, which I wanted to be aligned to the body. Now, if you're familiar with this feature called Portal in Angular, so like you can render components outside of the tree. So basically, that's the same thing. Now, in a minute, we're gonna take it a step forward, and then I hope you're gonna see another benefit of this method. But if you're looking for a practical use case, most of the time, if you've got a component that should be rendered against the body for I don't know, structure, CSS, position, whatever, I want you to know that can be more than one. I mean, generally speaking, guys, it's okay to touch the index HTML. We started this session saying, usually we don't touch the main.ts. A lot of Angular developers never touch the index HTML file at all. But it's totally fine. Look, I just put a hard-coded class on the body. That's fine. I can do a lot of other things. I mean, you can bring some static HTML right here. I can create like a div, which is gonna be let's give it a class like a card, and say loading or whatever. I mean, you can put static HTML in the index HTML file, and it's going to be rendered immediately. So even if your app taking some time to load, you're going to see some structure. So what I'm trying to say is, don't be afraid to touch the index HTML file. I mean, it's fine. I remember we implemented a system where we had static HTML as some kind of a shell, and Angular was think about it like an embedded widget. I mean, this app root and app alert and whatever, this is Angular. Yeah, everything here is going to be generated by Angular. Doesn't mean that if you have some static HTML, I mean, drop it around it, put the logo, I mean, whatever. All right. Next, few questions and then we move forward. What about change detection on app alert? Great, I'm happy that you asked it. We're gonna implement a service in a second. That's gonna be cool. What would your app alert talk with a component with an app root tree? Itamar asked. Great questions, and I'm happy that you asked it, because this is where we're going with it. So let's move forward and see how. All right, so I created a component, a Bootstrap component, but I wanted these components to talk with each other. What we're gonna do? First, let's do something which is very Angular-ish. I'm gonna ask you a very interesting question. You see, currently my app module knows about the alert component, but what if I would like to use the alert component from a different module, and I'm not allowed to touch the app module? Let it think for a second while I'm writing some code. I'm gonna create a module. I'm gonna use the Angular schematics. I'm gonna create a module. I'm gonna call this module alert, because, well, it's gonna contain everything related to alert. And now I'm gonna take the alert component and I'm gonna move it inside my separate module. Now in my alert module, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna create a Bootstrap array and put my alert component in it. And my app module, I'm gonna remove the alert component altogether. So just to align with you guys, currently we've got a very like, I don't know, very standard Angular app. We've got two different modules. Sorry, the reason I created a module for the alert, because like you ask, what about communication, change detection, making this alert component works. So I'm gonna add a service, we're gonna add some bunch of stuff, so we're gonna pack everything in the module because that's the Angular way. But now let me ask you this, I've got this alert module, I wanna use it. So you might think, well, if you've got an alert module and you like to use the alert component, that's cool, just go to your app component and import the alert module, which makes sense, but I'm gonna make it hard for you. What if I want to use this alert component on my index.html file from a completely separate module without touching my app module? How are you gonna do it? Who wants to try? Who wants to give it a try? Who wants to guess? Again, I've got an alert module. It's a completely separate project. You know what? It's like it's a third party. I want to use the alert component on my index.html file, but I don't want my app module to know anything about my alert module. Think about it like someone else wrote the app module. I know it's a radical example, but I'm getting somewhere. I mean, bear with me. Meanwhile, on my alert module, I'm just gonna use the browser mode on. DI, yeah, but Evgeny likes suggest DI. Perhaps something regarding to the main file, Itai. Yeah, well, wild guess. That's the title of our session. So, all right. So let's go to main.ts and see something very interesting. What's going on right here? We use this function, platform browser dynamic, to create a platform. And then we bootstrap the app module, which is cool. Nothing right away prevents me from doing something like this. Go ahead and bootstrap the alert module as well. Now look closely, let it sink, alright? My app module remain untouched, it doesn't know anything about the alert module. I bootstrap on the same platform. I mean, technically I can make it a little bit nicer. Let's create a browser, what a typo, rename to browser platform. Let me take this function, which create a browser platform. Let me fix my typos. I need to drink a little bit more. And then I'm gonna take the same platform, browser platform, and then browser platform. And I'm gonna bootstrap completely two different modules. It feels like two Angular projects, Itai said. Well, think about it. Well, it's kind of like you can think in terms of the open-close principle. I mean, let's create an imaginary scenario. First of all, it works, yeah, which is, I think it's interesting. But let's create an like imaginary scenario. I jumped into your project. You've got your entire project. You've got your app module up and running, which is cool. Now I've got my own module, my very sophisticated alert module, which we're gonna add some functionality into it. I don't want to touch your app module. I want to bootstrap my alert module. Let's let it live side by side. We're gonna see some cool technique of communication between them, but currently look at this code. It's interesting. I mean, I was able to bootstrap like you say, basically. It feels like two Angular project. And what loads first in this scenario, Evgeny asked? I mean, yeah. Well, let's go back to my slides. Hopefully there's not going to be another shot, alright? So the next slide, Evgeny, I'm going to answer you in a second. The next slide says every Angular application have one and only one root ng module. We just broke this law. We just seen that, well, you can use the platform, the same platform right away. To bootstrap your app module, it doesn't mean that you can't bootstrap another module. And Evgeny asked a very good question. If you ask me, what's gonna happen first? Well, basically it's important to say that we are in a promised land. I know we are Angular developers, RxJS is the thing. We're gonna use RxJS in a second. But guys, sometimes, keep it simple. I'm gonna create an async function. I'm gonna call this function Bootstrap. Inside this function, I'm gonna do the following. First, I'm gonna create a platform, which is the browser platform. Second, you see this catch and catch stuff? I'm gonna create 2 apps. I mean, I can create here an app module and bootstrap this guy. Let's use await here, which I think is cool. I can see you guys, alright. And then I can create an alert app or alert module, and here I'm gonna bootstrap the alert module. I'm gonna await for it. I can do something like return, I don't know, like promise all, and hopefully I do it right. Create like something like this, and then I can, well, bootstrap and catch errors. Now look at this code for a second, let it sink. I mean, we are bootstrapping 2 different modules, both, and there's like, that's like the most important things that I want you to be aware. We are using the same platform. We created the browser platform, and we bootstrapped 2 completely different, decoupled, unaware Angular modules living separately in the world, doesn't know anything about each other. The only thing they've got in common is that if you look at the index.html file, you're gonna see that, well, basically 2 root components, 2 different modules. Itai, it feels like 2, and what about the first, and what loads first in that scenario? Well, I think, correct me if I got it wrong, Evgeny, but I mean, it's promises. I mean, you can control it. I mean, you can decide what should go first and what second, which led us to the second part of the second chapter of this alcoholic session. So, if you've got any questions, if you want me to move around, show you some other pieces of this code, which of course I'm gonna share this piece of code with you, so no worries here. Let me know if you got any questions. Let me see if I missed something. Yeah, we're gonna get how would the app alert talk with the component in the main app root tree. Because now these questions become even more interesting, because it's not just 2 components living together within the same module. Now we've got 2 completely different separate Angular modules which were bootstrapped in like separate from each other. Get the shot. Alright, Evgeny. Yeah, you got it. So let's move forward. I mean, if you're an English speaker and this is the first time you've seen this broadcast, you should know that it's gonna get ugly. I'm gonna drink, and the most advanced examples. I'm just gonna happen after a few drinks, and I'm not 20 years old anymore, by the way. So, all right. So let me load up our next chapter, and let's see if the slide says that I need to drink. I'm gonna drink. All right. Next, shot number 2. Actually, it's not number 2. The first attendee that gonna write right now in the chat how many drinks, what's the number of shots this one gonna be, gonna get a WebStorm license. I'm the worst advocate ever. Encourage you to drink and give you like commercial products. But now seriously, I mean, I'm sitting at my home. I mean, drink responsible. No, I'm not gonna try even to say it. All right. Which number is it? Get a shot. It's not number 2. Nechami said 3, but I know Nechami. She's already got a license. I'm gonna give you something else. Shenigeva say 3. Zach say 2. I don't know what's the right answer. I mean, I need to go like backward, but I think it's number 3. I believe it's number 3. Yeah, makes sense. Which means that Shani, if you don't have a JetBrains license, let me know, and you're gonna get one. If you already got a JetBrains license, I'm gonna give you some I don't know, something else. I've got like a bunch of. Well, yeah, guys. Oh, Evgenia, let's drink. Promises meant to be broken. All right. Lesson in Angular and lesson for life. Yeah. So we already think that we've got loose coupling between these modules, which, you know, it's very interesting because it's make our app a little bit less fragile. Let me explain. What do you think gonna happen if for some reason the alert module is not gonna fire up? Is it gonna break my app? Well, no. Think about it, because I'm gonna show you some very, very practical real-world technique in a second. But if it was implemented in a way where like my app module coupled or import or tried to use my alert module, and for some reason my lazy loaded alert module was failed to load or to bootstrap for any reason, my app gonna break. I mean, it's gonna be a runtime error, but now we don't get any runtime errors because app module doesn't care. I mean, it doesn't know anything about the other module. All right, cool. Let me bring it back for a second. All right, so let's make these separate modules talk with each other. What I want to do, yeah. But you know what? Even before it, I mentioned that like they are decoupled. Let's do something cool. Let's build a node server, like really quick, something like very, very quick. Let's call it server.js. I just want to give you like something practical before I get like completely crazy. That's gonna be like an Express app. So basically what I'm doing right now, I mean, I'm just to be honest, I'm just like using the boilerplate of like how to create an Express app real quick. So excuse me if we don't see here any best practices, because that's not the point. I'm gonna need course, I'm gonna need Express. I'm gonna create an app using the Express function. I'm gonna tell my app to use course because we're gonna make a call for this server, and then the only thing I'm gonna do is do like a simple get to config. Let's call it config. All right, simple get to config. Here we're gonna get the request, we're gonna get a response. The most simple. All right, and now we're gonna return a JSON. which gonna return me alerts. Oh no, alerts. True. Well, let me explain for a second what I'm doing and why it's important right now. First of all, let me do like app listen and make it listen to port 3000, and let's just know that it's okay. Console log up and running at 3000. All right, the most simplest web like node server ever. I'm gonna use the feature of WebStorm. Express is, you know, it's like install Express and install course, just a shortcut for npm install. And let me stop for a second and explain what I do, because this example is connected to this discussion that we had in our Israeli Angular WhatsApp group that gave me the idea for this example. Sometimes we need to run some code before our Angular app is running. Now, I'm not gonna talk about things that you can learn from the documents, because that's not the point. All right. I mean, if you're not familiar with, oh no, I don't want to print. If you're not familiar with, I don't know, like app Initializer and app Bootstrap listener. If you're not familiar with this, you should know that Angular got an API that helps you, that gives you that enable you to run some code to hook into Angular Bootstrap process. So you can add custom functionality, you can listen to the app Bootstrap, you can use the app Initializer. That's cool. I'm not gonna talk about it, all right? The reason I created this server is, think about, I don't know, a feature flag server, a configuration, remote configuration, A/B test, whatever. You wanna load some configuration. In our use case, if I want to use alert in my app or not, and I mean, depends on the answer, we want to decide how we want to run our app. So first of all, let's see if I can get this up and running. Shouldn't be a problem. Should be like node server.js up and running at 3000. So we've got like 3000 config, and here you go, alerts true. Cool. Now I want to show you something which I discover is not very popular, and honestly I don't see any issue. I use this technique in some of the apps that I had the opportunity to build, but I'll be more than happy to hear what you think about it. So I'm gonna do something interesting. I'm gonna create a platform because that's cool, but before I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna make an API request to my server using fetch, like vanilla fetch. You can use whatever you like. Yeah, you want to use Axios, you've got a tiny library. You can't use though HTTP client, but honestly I don't think you won't use HTTP client for a simple fetch. But that's gonna be a completely different session about can we replace HTTP client with something more like lightweight. But I'm gonna use fetch, and then I'm gonna take the response and I'm gonna convert it to JSON, because this is how fetch works. And here I'm gonna put a wait. And now I'm gonna all right, note, I'm gonna use a very advanced professional programming debugging techniques. It's called console log. I'm gonna do a config console log because I want to make sure that I'm getting this config. If you don't feel comfortable with this method, that's fine. You need to get some, I mean, you need to practice some years in the industry. But console log, it's all right. And here we go from the server. We got the config, and guess what, guys? It's totally okay to say, you see this alert module? if config alerts load this module. I mean, basically. If not, don't load this module. I mean, that's fine. I mean, we can do it. Actually, I don't even need to return anything from this. Let's put it aside for a second, all right? I mean, look at this code for a second, all right? I mean, one member of our community asked questions like, I have to load something that's gonna affect my entire app. And a lot of wonderful, amazing community members told him about, all right, app initializer, app listener. Actually, he used the same technique. So I want to show you this. Let's see how it works. Let's see if it is works, all right? Currently, I can see my app working. And if I go to my amazing node server and say I don't want to use alerts, I'm just gonna have to rebuild because I'm not watching anything. Go back to my app. It's not gonna be there. I mean, it's simple as that. All right. So I know that there are some Angular developers that are gonna see this technique. And they're gonna tell me, yeah, but but what I'm trying to tell you guys is that basically this function, Bootstrap module app Angular, I mean inside my main.ts, which is the entry point for my Angular app, is just JavaScript. I mean that's fine. I mean if you want, you can decide when you want to bootstrap your app, start your Angular app. I mean, that's cool. So if you want to make an API call before and grab some config or feature flags or whatever, and then even decide which module you want to bootstrap, we're gonna see some more nice techniques, like if I want to grab like configuration, and I don't need this overhead of loading like a bunch of different modules, but I do want to hold Angular Bootstrap because I need to make some API call, grab some configuration, and then create or initialize some custom services. All right. So Rochelle, is this technique good for preloading languages? Yes. I mean, why not? I mean, it's important. It's important to say, Roy, that what we're seeing right now, it's gonna defer Angular, the entire app. We are going to defer the bootstrapping of the Angular application, all right? Sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes it's okay to bootstrap your app, and then before you render your components, you can grab some configuration, language, themes, whatever, some variables, and then affects how the UI gonna look like. And for that, you can, and you know what, maybe you should use the app initializer. That's fine. But sometimes, especially, I don't want to spoil the surprise, but I'm getting drunk anyway. But sometimes you want to do this kind of crazy stuff. You want to do like, I want to decide which modules I want to preload. I want to hold the entire Angular app because I've got some very, very important configuration that I need to fetch that needs to be there even before my app module would bootstrap, all right? So I hope that answers your questions. What about script tag and index HTML, Evgeny asked? I'm not sure what you're talking about, but basically, I'm not sure what you're asking, to be honest. I mean, what we're looking right here is like, we are working inside of Angular framework state of mind. We are talking about the bootstrap process. We're talking about when and where I want to run bootstrap some modules or load some modules. If I get you right, you probably can use this as a library and fetch this entire module as I don't know, from CDN or something. But in a second, we're gonna make them communicate with each other, and that's gonna be fun. Like localization, flag teams, attack, row. Yeah, exactly. Feature flags, great example. You want to make like a quick API request, a simple one, grab your feature flags, and sometimes for some, I don't know, users, you want to bootstrap your app module. For other users, you want to bootstrap a completely different module. If configuration is debugging, you want to bootstrap a debugging modules, which adds some interceptors and stuff. I mean, again, that's the purpose of this session. I mean, take this, find the use case for it. I found the use case for it, but the message is, guys, that's okay. I mean, that's fine. It's just JavaScript. You can decide when it's the right time to bootstrap your app module. That's what I'm trying to say. All right, let's take it a step forward, but before it, I have to finish this shot because honestly, that's, I mean, I've got to do what I've got to do. There are like kind of, I don't know, currently around 20 people online. Let me know. Send me a message. I mean, let's try to get some interact with each other. Are you having fun? We're done with the first hour. We've got this really cool techniques coming up. We can finish it right now, or would you like to see some more crazy stuff? The fifth, I think. All right. Feature flags. You will need later also your modules. You can save the result from here. Not sure what you asked, Tal, but you know what? Let me get done with this like complete example, and then I'm gonna answer all of your questions, or at least I'm gonna do my best to try to understand. All right, cool. All right, next. So up until now, everything is like nice. Let's go back to the server, and let's say that I want to support alerts. But one thing is like, and you ask for it, and you're gonna get it. And one thing is still like feels a little bit, I don't know, dim-wished. I created a component, I wrap it in a module, I bootstrap this module completely separately from the universe, but what about communication between these modules? So let's create a service. Yeah. Let me just see that I can see your comments. I'm gonna go to the alert directory, and I'm gonna create an Angular service. I'm gonna call it alert. CLI gonna generate an alert service. Now let's build. I mean, don't be hard on me on like now. Everything I'm gonna write can and should be written in a much like clear way, but I'm gonna try to keep the focus on the loading bootstrap techniques and less focus about now best practices and stuff with I don't know, ArcGIS and stuff. All right, I'm gonna create a behavior subject for an alert. I'm gonna create a read-only alert with a dollar sign, which is gonna be this alert as observable. I mean, I said I'm not gonna stick with best practices and stuff, but like the minimum show message. So here you can give me a message, which is gonna be string, and I'm just gonna push it down the string. So this alert, and next, and message. Again, I'm not gonna deal with errors right now. I'm gonna try to keep the service as simple as possible, so we can all just focus on the important stuff. I mean, everything is important, but you get the idea. And this one gonna be next. Right. So like the very, 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 I don't know, basic naive service using our like currently trend of push architecture. So using RxJS, we've got a service that it's basically gonna use a behavior subject so we can reactively push a value and everything. And now I've got in main.ts, I've got one platform and I've got two modules. If I want this service to be a singleton that I can share between these modules, I can't inject it on the root level, which is the module level. I'm going to inject it on the platform level, which is cool. Provided in platform, Evgeny said, yeah. If that's your first time and you are not part of the Israeli community, Evgeny is one of the core members of these sessions, and every time I ask you questions, I know that Evgeny probably gonna answer first. So I'm glad that we have you, Evgeny, and I'm gonna block you from this chat. Alright, cool. So provided in platform. Now, if I provided it in platform, it means that I can use it in two different places. Let's give it a try. Let's go to alert component and let's add here a button and show message. Come on, show message. And click. And I told you I'm gonna be lazy. Constructor. I want the alert service. I'm just gonna make it public. Excuse me. All right. I'm just gonna make it public. And here I'm just gonna do this alert service. Show message and just hard-coded message. Let's call it message from app. You know what? Message from app module. Let's see if we get any questions. All right. If you wonder, wait a second, use this, why? Actually, it was on purpose, just a teaser. You can use this. It's optional. That's it. Sometimes, and I think I've got a video about it. Sometimes, if you want to get very crazy with Angular, you can pass a callback. There is I think 2 use cases for it, in my entire Angular career. When you pass a callback to a component, usually a third-party component, and then you have to bind this. So you should know that you can use this keyword in your templates. You don't need to do it. There's no reason to do it unless you have to, or how you got to this scenario where you need to pass a callback as an input to a component and you want to preserve the scope. So it wasn't a mistake that I did this, that I used this keyword here. It was just a teaser, guys. Everything is planned. All right, so on my, oh, wait a second. No, come on, guys. This is the wrong module. This is the alert. This is the alert component. Well, if we're here, let's just use, I don't know, ngIf. Let's do an ngIf, alert service, alert, async, as alert, message, and then bind the alert message. So this is the alert component inside the alert module. Cool. Now let's go back to the app component and here I want to put this button, and obviously I want to inject the alert service. Yeah, let's see if WebStorm is smart enough. Insert that like now. Almost. So here I'm gonna take the alert service. I'm so lazy. Alert service. Alert service. Let's make it public. I know. Alright? Alright, so now we've got two different modules which share the same instance of alert service. Because alert service is provided on the platform level, and on main.ts we bootstrap two different modules but within the same platform. So like before, I'm gonna use a very advanced debugging techniques. Don't do it at home. I'm gonna do a console log and just want to make sure that alert service instance, but I've got only one instance, not insurance, instance of alert service. Alright, so let's see. The pipe async could not be used. We're gonna fix it in a second. Where did we use the pipe async? On the alert module. Alert, yeah. Alert component, yeah. It can be used because I think I need to put my alert component also in declaration. Yeah, I mean, let me explain here what I did. That's the fun of live coding. Inside the alert module, I used the alert component as a bootstrap component. Now I imported the browser module, which import the common module, which contains the async pipe. I had to include my alert component also as part of my declaration, so it would be able to compile together with the async pipe. So, well, first of all, alert service instance only one. Do you think we can find it? I don't know. Let's see. All right. So I'm gonna put a breakpoint here. Now we're gonna click show message, and I want to see it on the other module. Works, and nothing gonna happen because up until now it was like, all right, two separate modules, we got it, same service, we got it. But you should know that when you bootstrap a module, you create a root ng zone for it. So each bootstrapped module got its own root ng zone, which means that there was an event on app module and bootstrap modules can't react to it. I mean, change detection won't run on the other module because it's a completely different zone. So let's do something cool. We're gonna do it the hard way, and then we're gonna do the easy way, alright? So first of all, I'm gonna go to alert component, and yeah, well, I can do it manually, to be honest. I mean, I can create an alert right here. I can refactor this code a little bit, ngIf alert, and remove all of this. And do this. Right? If alert, show the alert. And here I can, well, I'm gonna need the alert service for sure. I'm gonna need change detector, change private, let's call it city, change detector ref, and then I can implement on in it and do it manually. Here I can take this alert service, I can subscribe to alerts, I can take the value and I can say this alert equals to the value, and then this cd detect changes. It shouted at me because what I did wrong. Why? Because it's like I need to tell him it's an observable. Yeah, alright, whatever. Alright, let's see if that's gonna work. Failed to compile, live coding, error to compiled. This alert value, no, that should be a string first of all. Alright, and now show message, forget about it. Alright, and why not work. But doesn't the async pipe run change detection? No. No, Zach, no. It's a different zone. But first I want to make this one work, and then we're gonna talk about, and then I'm gonna explain like completely why the whole thing is not working for us, right? But first let me get this one done. So I've got an alert, and I've got this ngIf. Let's call it a message. So it's just gonna be clear that here I want a message basically, which is a string, and then I subscribe here because the service is the same service. Why aren't you working? You should. Let's see. Let's just recompile it. Sometimes when you take it too far. Oh, maybe the feature flag is off. No, alright, let's debug it. Let's see what's gonna happen. Show message works, next message, alert, alerts. I believe that works. I don't think that's a problem. Alert service alerts, we subscribe to it. Let me put debugger here. Let's see if that's gonna work. That's the first time. It's fine. Alright, we get it. We're here. That's cool. Let's see what's the message. There is a message. What's the value? Sorry. Alright, we have the value. I can't see your comments. Detection change should be inside the subscription function. Yes. Don't drink and code, guys. Don't drink and code. Alright. So we've got it. Alright. Now two things about it. First of all, it works, and I think that's cool. Alright. First, we learn about sharing a service on the platform level, which is cool. We learn about the ability to bootstrap two modules which are decoupled from each other, which is cool. We learn that every bootstrap module got its own ng zone, so we shouldn't expect change detection to be synchronized, or like one zone.js to trigger another zone.js. It's not a fork, alright? Which is cool. But I'm not happy yet. I mean, personally, recently, I'm pushing toward, I'm not the only one, yeah? I'm pushing toward zoneless Angular application. Zone.js is an automatic system to trick change detection. It's causing a lot of issues. It's got a lot of good things in it, but we can live without it. But I don't want to write code like this. I think it's alright. So I'm gonna use a library from the Ngrix. Don't get mad, alright? The Ngrix platform, but not the Ngrix store and all of this stuff. Ngrix is an umbrella of a lot of great frameworks. I'm gonna go to the view to the Ngrix Component. Ngrix Component, alright, which I'm gonna install right now. It's a replacement for the async pipe. I'm gonna install it and then explain. What does the Ngrix component does, and why do I want to use it, and why you should use it too. Just like the async pipe, it's subscribed to the observable, and then it checks if ngZone exists. If ngZone exists, it just schedules the change for the next tick. Mark is dirty. But if there is no zone.js, it's basically do this, detect changes. Now this wonderful replacement for async enable us to write zoneless applications and keep Angular reactive. So let me show you how it works. ngIf, instead of async, I'm gonna use the push pipe, ngrx push. WebStorm tell me, well, do you want to import the reactive component module because you're using one of their directives? Yes, of course. As message. Let's call it this one gonna be message, and that's gonna be message. And now I don't need all of this, honestly. Well, you know what? I don't need all of this at all. I can remove all of this. Tap, 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 tap. And I can remove the onInit, and I can remove the change detector ref, and I can make the alert service public, and I can just use it directly here saying this. Now come on, alert service, alerts, ngrx push as message, and it's shouting at me because what I just told you what it's gonna be. What is it? Typo? Yeah. All right. Let's look at the questions. Wow, this is powerful. Hope you like it. Yeah, I mean it's a great. I mean most people think of Ngrx just like Ngrx store and effects, but that's not true. Ngrx is an umbrella of like a bunch of utilities. One of them is the Ngrix component, but you know this is like Angular and Whisky. We're not just gonna use it. We're gonna dig into the source code. Look, let's see how it works. Let's see if we can see how it works because I'm not sure I can see how it works. Declare class push pipe implements pipe transform. Yeah, you can actually see this because I jumped into the definition. But Ngrx push, the only things it does: subscribe, check if there's ngZone, and use it. And if you're zoneless, it just detects changes. Now, my app is not gonna work, and the person who knows why gonna get a gift for me. Let's see. If I ask how come it's not native, yeah, I mean it should. You know, we love Angular, and part of the roadmap of Angular is to, you know, basically, it's not a nice thing to say, but you know, being able to work without zone. Zone is amazing. That's the automatic change detection, but zone also created a lot of issues. I mean, every event change detection is running. I mean, so Evgeny says, Evgeny again, all right? Every time you bootstrap a module, you create an ngZone for it. Now, for the alert module, by default, root zone was created. So this wonderful push pipe, which is designed to work with zone and without zone, checking to see. I really want you to see the source code. Let's see if we can see the source code of it. You know what? Sign in to my GitHub. No, that's not gonna happen. All right. I'm using my company laptop. No. All right. So the ngrx push, what it's doing basically, if there's ngZone, it just marks this component for change. Now there's ngZone, so it's marked this component for change, but it's a different ngZone from the app module. So this module, I can tell him, you know what, ngZone, nope. I don't need ngZone on the alert module. If you're starting a brand new Angular application, I highly encourage you to consider starting zoneless. all right? You won't lose any reactivity. Angular is reactive. You're gonna see it in a second. Now, what you're gonna see right now in this demo, it's a reactive behavior, but like very cool one. We've got a singleton service shared on the platform level, configured by Fetch API before the Bootstrap, pushing a message to a completely different module, and let's see if that works. It works, alright? Ngrix push or Ngx push, or what was the name of it, Michael? Ngrix push is a drop-in replacement for async that support zone, just like async, and zoneless. And Zach told me you have a zone. So Zach, you win something. If you need a license for JetBrains, let me know. And if you already used one of the JetBrains IDs, let me know. And think of something else. By the way, all of these prices, it's like it's up to you. It's like you are out of my zone. Please, once this session is done, send me an email, ping me, tell me, hey, I'm Zach from the broadcast, and you told me I'm gonna win a license. Please send me one. I'm gonna send you one right away, all right? Because once this session is done, I don't remember how to get the chat again. All right. You recommended going zoneless. This is quite revolutionary. Yeah, Itai Perry, I'm not the only one who recommended going zoneless. One of my friends in the industry, Michael, I think Halsky, is doing a great job in this area. Going zoneless, it's not like a bad thing anymore. Like I said before, zone was created to give us like an automatic change detection. But you know, it's an evolution of framework and developers. It took us some years to understand that, you know, look at React, for example. It's important to learn from other frameworks. In React, for example, you don't get automatic change detection. If you've got an event that need to change the view, you run change detection by yourself using the set state or update state, all right? So in Angular, yeah, I recommend like 2021, think about going zoneless. You don't have to go completely zoneless, but that's going to be a different session because Zone.js got some flex. You can turn off Zone.js on a specific events and keep it on DOM events, because by default Zone.js is going to trigger change detection in every event, and not every event should trigger change detection. But again, it's out of the scope of this session. I'll be more than happy if you like to create a session just for going zoneless, which I'm probably going to do soon. But yeah, I highly encourage you, think about zoneless, study zoneless, start zoneless, take control of change detection. As a developer, I know when an event should update the view, when change detection should run. And it solves like a bunch of issues, from performance to, you know, less magic in code. And yeah, you're gonna pay a price. Sometimes you're gonna inject change detection per component and update your own view. But like you've seen right now, you can also use the Ngrix push as a drop-in replacement for async and enjoy both worlds. Like, work with zone, but get ready to get zoneless. Let's move forward. Itamar, zoneless session sounds very interesting. Cool, let's do run. This is Angular and Whisky, the 4th wave edition, which means then I'm probably gonna have plenty of time during these evenings. All right, cool. Where are we? All right, so with zoneless, we've got 2 modules, communicate with each other, platform providers, things going very, very well. Let's go to the last topic of this session. But first, we need to check the slides and see if I need to drink another shot. the last session. Yeah, well, there's another shot. Provide on demand. That's gonna be the last topic, because otherwise I'm just gonna lose it completely, and everything is documented. These sessions, by the way, is going to probably live in YouTube forever, unless someone else is gonna delete them. And I'm not gonna perform any edits, so if you like it, you can share it with your friends. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I always wanna say. No, I'm kidding. But this video gonna be available once I'm done with this session. So the last shot for today, together with the last topic, provide on demand. And this technique, again, we are not doing the obvious here, all right? We are doing some out of the box techniques. We still in main.ts, and let's do something. Let's create a service, but I don't want to call it a service. I want to create it, you know, some JavaScript class, JavaScript object, piece of logic. I'm not sure I even want to create it inside of my app. I think I maybe want to create it outside of my app. Now, there is a reason for it, because this technique might be the solution of sharing code libraries between different platforms, because there's not going to be any Angular in it. Well, less talking, let's get to business. I'm going to be super lazy and use the Angular CLI to create a simple class, which is like, you can't get more lazy than this. I'm going to call this class logger. Yeah, I know every Angular tutorial create a logger, but you know, that's the most simple service that I can create to demonstrate the technique. Now it's just floating away here. I don't want it to be here. I'm going to create a directory. I'm going to call it services. Now look, this logger is not going to have any decorator whatsoever, right? We're going to keep it plain JavaScript. I'm going to call it log message with color. I'm going to say, give me a message. Give me a message, rename to message. Give me a color, which is going to be a string. And I'm going to do, remember, a console log. But this time we're going to use some colors. So we're going to do this, C, and then the message that you want to log. And then here, I'm going to just say color. And basically the color that you want to use. Now there's a reason why I created this, and actually I'm gonna change it to console logger. I want it to be like specific service. Now this is just plain JavaScript, alright? Let's go back to our main.ts. Wait, yeah, let's go to our main.ts. Now look, when you create a platform, if it wasn't clear, excuse me for like stopping the flow, but if it wasn't clear enough, Angular support many platforms. I can share a link with you from a great resource that I learned a lot from, how you can create your own platforms. You know what, maybe we'll have a session about it, but currently we're using the browser platform. Now, in some conditions, depend on the config, depend on the platform, depend on whatever you want it to be depend. You want to create a platform and provide specific services, you know, conditionally. You can do this. You can say, well, platform browser dynamic, all right? And I want to provide my console logger. what I just did on main.ts, when I created the platform, I reconfigured the injector with static code. Now at first glance, it doesn't seem like something like practical. I'm sure that you're not like falling off your chair. But let's think about it for a second. We created a platform. Angular is not Bootstrap yet. Yeah, we just created the platform. We can fetch some configuration even before we bootstrap Angular. And now I tell you that if that's not enough, you can also provide services or register some plain JavaScript objects before you bootstrap your module. Which means that in some conditions you can choose different services. And don't be mistaken, this is a static provider. This is called a static provider. You can use a factory here, yeah? You can use a factory. You can define dependencies. I mean, you can create on demand, even during runtime, by the way. That's the whole point. Depending on configuration, you can provide a set of services, which is super cool, which now means that if I want to use this console logger, now look closely, yeah, because that's super cool. Unless my demo gonna break down, I can inject console logger. Let's try to use it. Console logger dot log message app component works, and let's give it red. All right, and it works. Well, but this provider that I just injected is just a plain old JavaScript which live outside of my Angular app. Maybe it's a shared library, shared code between this and Node, but it's not. That's not important. The place where I configure the injector is not part of the module. It's part of the platform. So again, back to main.ts. I registered this console logger as a provider when I created the platform, and of course, you can use any condition you like and decide how you want to configure the injector. You want to use some classes and initialize them with specific data or variables. You want to create, you want to register your translation theme service, whatever, with preloading data. I mean, use your imagination, because obviously I drank too much during this session. Well, I don't know. Drop me something on the chat. I don't know if you're excited like me. I really want to hear if you find it, if you see the potential of on the fly on main.ts, configure your injector dynamically, and to be honest, quite simple. Roy asked if the nope is a flag, like if it's like true or false, yeah. But you have to provide it nope. I mean, that's the, alright. Cool. The reason that I pushed you to give me some feedback on this one, because I never seen this before. I use this. Again, to be honest, it's specific use cases, but recently I started to push the boundaries a little bit, because I asked myself, wait a second, the main.ts file, I'm starting to summarize the whole thing. The main.ts file, that's the entry point of our Angular app. Yes, of course, once you bootstrap your modules, we've got built-in tokens that enable us to hook into the bootstrap process of Angular. That's cool. But what if I want to have like greater control? Can I just defer the Bootstrap? Yes, it's just JavaScript. I can wrap it with fetch. Nothing happened. I mean, I need this data. Can I create on the fly and decide which providers I want to provide, which static providers my platform got? Yes, of course. Can I do more than this? Yes, of course you can. Because let's say the app module, all right, await browser platform app module. Here you're gonna get an ng module ref, which is basically the app module. And the app module ref, let's call it ref. The app module ref, after I bootstrap my app module, I can specifically get the injector of the app module and get stuff or providers which are part of the app module and configure them. I can enter each one of my components, all right? Because I've got a module ref. I can go directly to the instance of the module ref and change some properties. What I'm trying to say, which is kind of summarized, and then I'm gonna answer some questions and wrap it up, is that look guys, main.ts, that's the entry point. It's a very powerful place. It's a very powerful file. It's powerful. You get the idea. And it's okay to explore what you can do with it. I mean, it's not hacking. It's just understanding that Angular starts right here when you bootstrap your module, and to get the understanding that you can bootstrap more than one module. And even if you don't have these like edge cases, and all you've got is just one module, and you want to bootstrap it, and you want to get the instance, or you want to initialize it, or you want to create dynamically, conditionally created some static providers, you can do it. And it might be much easier to program it and understand it and debug it on the main.ts file. Because what we see here is like, well, basic promises differing and stuff. I need to finish this drink because I promised. And then I'm gonna answer some questions. All right, well, let's see. Glad that you like it. All right. Zach asks, can I bootstrap a different app based on the route on the Angular app? On the Angular route? Actually, let me show you something. I want to show you something. It's a little bit out of the scope that I planned, but you know, again, it's not like that I've got a tight agenda. It's very important to me to show you something which slipped, I think, away. Let's say that you've got an app component. I mean, we can lazy load components, as we hopefully most of us already know. We can lazy load modules with the route. And now Zach asks, can I bootstrap a different app based on the route? Now, I don't know if that's going to answer your questions, but I want you to look at this. I mean, in every point in time, you can inject the compiler and then do something like this on the fly, like runtime. Let me implement on init just because I can. All right, let me implement on init. In every given time, I can do something crazy like this. I can do dynamic import, like import, and let's import a module. Here you go, all right? Let's do it async. Let's await. Let's load the module, all right? Actually, alert module. And then I can use this compiler, look closely, compile module async or sync. I can compile the module in runtime. And now I just compile the module, which is super cool. Again, edge cases, but it's cool. I mean, compiler, it's available for you. It's a public API. You can inject it during runtime. You can dynamically import Angular modules. You can compile them, sync or async. You can compile them in different ways with different configurations. You've got this ability. A lot of Angular developers, sometimes, well, it depends what you build, obviously. But if they build some very sophisticated, complex, I don't know, in-browser, editor, whatever, get into a situation where they need, during runtime, to lazy load a module and compile it. Not everyone aware of the fact that you can actually inject the compiler and compile modules on the fly. All right, questions. But can you import that module dynamically? Yes, Chris. Here you go. This is like a dynamic import inside of Angular. This is gonna cause the code splitting. If I'm gonna build this app, obviously you're gonna see the alert module as a different file. It was just dynamically imported it right now, right here during runtime, compiled on the fly during runtime, together with all of his declarations. All right. So hope that's answered your questions, Chris. Zach, for example, domain admin will bootstrap the admin app, domain store will bootstrap the store. Yes, Zach, you can do it. You can do it. Cool. All right, guys. First of all, I need to finish this. God, let me get back to the slides. All right. Can you add a timeout to the config fetch just to make sure we really wait for the config? I'm not sure what you ask. I mean, you want me like to write some code that proof that the config is actually, we wait for it. I'll be more than happy to do it. I used await. We are waiting for it. I mean, nothing happened. You can read the timeout somewhere. I'm not sure what you're aiming with this, but I did use like async await, so I can promise you that we were waiting for the config. But you know what? Don't trust me. Don't trust no one. I mean, if there's one thing that I like all of you to take from this session, is that explore, all right, is just JavaScript. The second thing, I know I told you only one thing, but main.ts, yeah, I mean, don't be afraid to do stuff like this. More questions. Can you add a timeout? We've seen it. All right. I'm gonna wait like a few more seconds to see if there's any more questions coming up. If there are any English speakers during this live broadcast, I mean right now, is there any native English speaker that's seeing this problematic session for the first time? Just curious, because a lot of developers ask me to try to speak English. Do you have an Ngrix dedicated lecture? Roy asked. I don't have something like super specific about Ngrix. I do have a session, Hebrew. I think it was the last session where I explored push architecture and talked a little bit about this Ngrix component stuff. I do plan to do something like this, and hopefully it will be executed soon, because I'm not like pre-record courses and stuff. It's just when I've got free time, I'm making myself some free time and just share whatever I've got with you, something like I did today. But if you've got any specific questions or something that you need some resources or some links, feel free to send me an email, Facebook, Twitter, whatever. And I'll be more than happy to give you some some great resources for learning Ngrix, and maybe find some stuff that I did before. I remind you, there is this website which is not updated at all, called near.life, and the most important thing about it is that it contains a bunch of links. So here you can find, you see this, like my Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, SlideShare, GitHub. I'm gonna share this code in my GitHub. I'm gonna put a link in the description. Yeah, what else? If there's any Israeli developers here, currently I work at Next Insurance. We are looking for developers. If you want to do this kind of crazy stuff, if you want to work with me, basically, you're more than welcome to keep in touch. But do whatever you feel best. Thank you very much, guys. And I'm available in any channel. Hope you liked it. If you learned something new, share it with your friends. If you've got some comments, let me know. If you've got some ideas for the next session, let me know. This session was constructed in 2 days because of this discussion. And most important, don't be afraid to explore. And remember, there are no bad practices. There isn't such a thing. There are practices, there are trade-offs. We can do a lot of stuff. Just, keep digging. And yeah, and that's it. I'm gonna stream out for all my friends from the Israeli community. We can continue on the WhatsApp group. For all the rest, Twitter, Facebook, whatever works for you. Thank you all.